How's it going, everybody? Welcome to Talking PlayStation, the coolest PlayStation podcast if you have really low standards.
Damn.
My name is Jacket. I'm here with my business partner, my life partner. Apparently, he's dying over there. Iron.
I'm good.
How you doing, Doug?
I'm good. I'm good. Life partner, business partner. I don't.
Yeah, either one works.
I just work. I work for you.
Yeah, but well, I mean, kind of in a way, I suppose.
Kind of in a way, I work for you for no pay.
Yeah, you don't get paid a lot for it. Let's be honest. But no, last week I did say we probably wouldn't do this every week. We'd probably do it every month, maybe every 2 weeks, and then loads of things happened like last week that would be really interesting to talk about. So we're going to do an episode this week to talk about a lot of things that have happened in the last week. And then I think the next episode we're going to bring in our Japanese correspondent, Andy, who's going to talk about Yakuza for us, because Yakuza 7 releases in Japan, I think, is it next week or is it this week, something like that? I'm not sure. Something like that. You check that for a second.
Yep.
And Andy is going to import it from Japan because he loves Yakuza. And me and Ian don't really know anything about Yakuza.
It's already out.
It's already out. He's probably already got it. He's probably playing it like right this second. Yeah. We don't really know much about it. So we're going to bring Andy in to talk about Yakuza and give us the rundown. I think they're doing a re-release of, is it Yakuza 5 from the PlayStation 4 as well?
Yeah, I think they're redoing Yakuza 5 for like PS4 or whatever.
Let me tell you something. I do not understand Yakuza's release schedule whatsoever. Like, trying to work out which game is on which console, because I think at this point they're re-releasing every game on PlayStation 4. I think.
Yeah. Which Andy has said he will buy every copy on PS4 and PC and Xbox. Fuck, if they brought it to Switch, he would buy it.
Yeah, like I'm pretty sure they're bringing out like a big collection of Yakuza games as well. I think that's going to be like every game or something like that. So it gets like real confusing. I think the one that I played, that he suggested that I played, and I didn't play it for very long, was Yakuza 0, which I think is in the canon, the first game, but it's like the 8th game or something crazy like that released in the series. You know?
I'm looking at my game shelf. I think that's. Oh no, Yakuza Kiwami is the one he had sent me.
Oh, that might be the one. I don't know. Maybe that's the one I'm thinking about, because that rings a bell as well. I haven't got a clue. They need to sort those games out and put some sort of consistent numbering. I'm sure if Andy was here, he'd be going, actually, it's really easy to understand.
Oh no, he would totally be saying it was easy to understand. And that's fine. At least he can understand it, because God, he loves those fucking games.
Yeah, and people do. People love Yakuza games. Like, I think Yakuza games get really overlooked as far as like being. Are they exclusive, or are they on PC as well?
I believe that they're starting to come to PC, I think, which, I mean, it makes sense. And, I mean, the games are fun. From what I played from the first Yakuza game I've ever played, which was Kiwami, it's a perfectly fun game. It's tough for me to get through, I guess. I don't know why, but it just kind of was tough for me to. I never finished it. I still need to finish it, but.
I think the problem I had with it is the same problem I had with anime, is that I really don't like subs. You know, I would much rather have a dub, which I guess a lot of people would not like with Yakuza, but that's just me personally, and I think that makes it a little bit harder for me to get into the game.
Yeah.
Speaking quickly, probably the first thing we should talk about, which I'd actually kind of forgotten about, I've just kind of remembered it. Horizon Zero Dawn.
Oh, yeah.
It looks like it's going to get a PC release. A lot of people seemed quite surprised about this. I mean, I would be one of those people. I was pretty surprised about it.
Yeah.
I think a lot of other people are reading a lot into it, which I think they really shouldn't do, because at this point, Horizon Zero Dawn is an old PlayStation 4 game that Sony are probably not making that much money out of, and if they're going to start releasing games on PC, surely this would be the time to do it, when the game has. Everyone who's going to get it on PlayStation 4, has probably already played it. So why not give it a release on PC and make some more money off the game? I don't think it at all signifies that we're going to start getting things like The Last of Us or Spider-Man maybe on PC. I suppose it's possible.
It is, and I just kind of find this a little funny. And this actually just popped into my head. So Horizon Zero Dawn is supposedly getting, the PC launch, and the guy that oversaw Guerrilla is now in control of PlayStation.
Yeah.
So it's like his game is like he's like, I'm gonna fucking put my shit on I'm putting it on PlayStation. I want some, or on PC. I want some more money.
Yeah, I could see that. I could see like Days Gone maybe being released on PC to try and like recoup some of the money from that game.
Yeah, I mean, Days Gone, from what I heard, was a perfectly fine game. I have it. I got it for Christmas. I'm gonna play it after I finish Star Wars, but
yeah,
it was a perfectly fine game. It was one of those like, it's a good game. It's just it's not the critically acclaimed like God of War, Horizon, Last of Us kind of game.
Yeah, so I could see that kind of game maybe getting a release on PC, but I think the idea that I can't see them releasing Spider-Man on PC. I think that would.
No, I don't
think
that.
That's going to happen. I can't see God of War.
No.
I definitely can't see Naughty Dog.
Oh God, no.
I think any Naughty Dog game, I think, is probably just not going to happen. I would be really surprised. I saw a lot of people saying, this is the way it should be. We should end first. There should be no exclusives, and I don't know. I don't necessarily agree with that. I think there's something special about exclusive games. I get that if you're a big Microsoft fan, they're not as big of a deal. But if you look at like Nintendo and Sony in particular, exclusive games are still a big deal. I think they're a little bit special. I wouldn't want them to go away. I wouldn't want everything to be on every console. And
yeah, no, that's then what it's like. It's one of those things. Like if it's on every console, then and then even PC. Like at that point, it's like, why am I buying multiple consoles? Like what? Like that gives me no reason to like own a PlayStation and a PC and a Switch.
Sure.
Like it's my reason of why it's like I have no reason to own an Xbox. Like I have a PC. Everything that Xbox puts out is now on PC at this point. I don't give I don't need one. What the fuck do I need one for?
Yeah. I think the other thing is, well, I think if you made developers like Naughty Dog or Sony Santa Monica make games for like, PC and PlayStation, they're not going to be able to focus on one system and make the game as good as they possibly can make it on one system, which is what Nintendo have done for years and Sony have been doing recently. That's been a lot of Nintendo's success, is focusing on one platform and making the game run, hopefully as well as it can do on one platform. So I think it's good I think it's good if they're going to make some money out of it. I think if more people get to play a game and they enjoy it, I don't think it's a negative. But I just don't think it signifies some great change that all of a sudden we're going to see PlayStation exclusives on PC. I think maybe we'll see them once they run their course on PlayStation, but I think maybe that's the extent of it.
Right.
And then the next biggest thing that really happened in the last week is that every game has been cancelled or delayed.
Jesus Christ.
That's coming out for the rest of the year. So I believe the first game that was announced to be delayed was Final Fantasy VII, the remake, and that's been delayed by a month, I believe, or maybe a couple of months, I think it was. Just double check the release date on that.
Yeah.
A month till April, so it isn't that bad. That's not a huge delay. And then not long after that,
the Avengers.
We had the Avengers delay, which
That's going all the way to September.
Yeah, I'm not really excited for that game whatsoever, to be honest. But
me neither.
It is what it is. And then I suppose the other really big one, or maybe the biggest one you could say, is that Cyberpunk 2077 is getting put back until, I believe, September as well.
Yep. It's also another September one.
Yeah, which is a big delay. I mean, they obviously want to spend some time with that game to make sure it's the best that they can possibly make it. So
well, yeah, that's like all of these. Like, even with Final Fantasy VII, it's one of those things, and I think we talked about it last week or something. If you're going to delay a game, that's fine. Delay it and make it better. I don't care.
Yeah. I do wonder if in Seven's case, it's a situation where they must have a plan for the other two installments of that game, and they must have a timeline. Like, okay, we're going to release Final Fantasy VII Remake in April now. Then maybe next April we're going to release Part 2, and then maybe the year after release Part 3. And I do wonder if maybe the actual game they're going to release this year is finished, but maybe they're starting to have problems further down the line, and they're having to put this back a little bit to try and make sure they're keeping everything in check.
Yeah,
or maybe it's something to do with the engine or something like that. But it seems it's not a huge delay from March the 3rd till April the 10th. Really, I mean, it's just over a month. So
yeah, so that's not that bad.
I'm a bit gutted about it because I'm really looking forward to playing that game. But I mean, it's not a huge delay. In terms of Cyberpunk, I don't know really with Cyberpunk. Like I've watched a lot of the gameplay for it, and it does look interesting. But I always think back to The Witcher 3, and I thought The Witcher 3 looked really interesting, and then I played it, and I was like, this is not really, not really living up to the expectations I had. And I'm not sure if I kind of feel the same way about Cyberpunk. Maybe as it gets closer to release, I might change my opinion on it, but at least for me, it wasn't a big deal. But obviously, a lot of other people disagreed and saw this as like a huge deal that they're delaying this game.
Yeah. The other reason they could be, I mean, okay, I know they're not delaying them because of this, but I mean, the delays also, I mean, it's pushing it closer to the new consoles.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. You've got to imagine a game like Cyberpunk, which is a big release title, a big AAA game. They must have some plan in mind, whether it's it's going to run on Xbox Series X or PlayStation 5 as well, or is there going to be a patch or something like that? I mean, at the very least, both these consoles are going to be backwards compatible, so that game is going to be able to be played on a PlayStation 5 and an Xbox Series X.
Oh,
so
yeah.
There is that to take into account. Maybe they are taking the extra time to make it look and play, as good as they possibly can do, which you can't fault them for it.
No.
I mean, it's always disappointing when games get delayed, but at the same time, if you're going to get the best game, then surely that's the best thing for everyone involved, I would have thought.
Yeah.
And there was one more delay, which was the Iron Man VR game. I'm not really sure if we're that bothered about that. I'm not really sure if that was a big...
I think that's more of like... people with VR. Like I know Tim has VR, and Neo has VR, and Penguin and Mike. I know they all have VR, so they might be a little bit bummed about it.
Yeah, I mean, I guess you could look at a game like, a character like Iron Man and think maybe that would be a good experience to have in VR, but
I think it would be. I think it'd be fun.
I think in like compared to the other games that are being delayed,
it's not as significant.
Yeah, it's probably not as significant.
But that also probably has to do with the fact that VR is just not as popular.
Yeah, VR isn't there yet. It's maybe one day, but not at the minute. That's for sure.
Yeah.
That is for sure. So, the other news we had this week, not really that surprising, is that Sony is not going to be at E3 again this year. And they've essentially said that after thorough evaluation, they have decided not to participate in E3 2020. We have great respect for the ESA, Sony said, as an organization, but we do not feel the vision. Yeah, we do not feel the vision of E3 2020 is the right venue for what we are focused on this year. So, what do you think of that?
One, like I just said, I think they're lying that they have respect for them because after everything that happened last year, I don't think anybody really respects the ESA.
No.
I'm not shocked by the decision. I didn't actually expect them to go to E3 because they seem to be doing just fine on their own. PlayStation 5 will be shown during its own event, probably coming up here in February. It'll be coming. It'll be shown. It'll be talked about at its own event. They will, I'm sure, do their own state of play in June around E3 to talk about the, some more, like maybe the specs or things like that, or they'll hold another event where they do that, or they'll do it at like the Tokyo Game Show or
Sure.
Whatever, they'll do it then. There's so many ways now to get the information out and to get trailers out and everything else that E3 is just pointless at this point. Like it's I wouldn't say fully pointless, but it's like it was more of, it was supposed to be this big thing of, we're going to showcase these games, we're going to do this, we're going to do that, it'll be the first reveals and everything. Nobody knows about it, but now you get leaks, and then you get companies responding to the leaks going like, well, we were waiting, but here we go, and then they just put it out on their own on social media. Or then you have things like Nintendo's Direct or State of Plays, and you can do those whenever you want. You don't have to wait for E3 anymore.
Yeah, I think that's probably the biggest change from now to 10 years ago. If we look to like 2010, when E3 was still a big deal, and that was a place, it was a time of year I really looked forward to. We were going to get some surprises. But when you actually think about what E3 was, it was kind of weird because it was basically a trade show where each, of the big three were trying to outdo each other, essentially. They were trying to, quote unquote, win E3. And now, with, like you mentioned, social media is huge now. Both Microsoft and Sony and Nintendo, really, you can say this about all three of them, are at a point where they do not now need to rely on an event to promote their console. They can hold the event and everyone will tune in. Everyone, you can watch it on Twitch, you can watch it on YouTube. All the media will all tune in because it's so much more accessible now. You don't need to get everybody in one place anymore in an auditorium and announce it when you can just do it on the internet.
Yeah, and so especially now with E3 being what it is, to where they're just letting the public in. So now they're trying to turn it into a Gamescom.
Yeah, I think that's kind of been the kiss of death for E3. It doesn't feel special anymore.
No.
And if you are Sony or Microsoft or Nintendo, why would you want to announce your console and then potentially have some of the other companies, one-up you, if you like, or steal your thunder, or however you want to look at it, when you can just have your own event in February and you can have all the eyes on you and you can take all the time you want and you can tweak it and you can make it so it's perfect for what you want. To me, it's a no-brainer. Like, I think E3 as it was is dead. I think companies like EA and Ubisoft will still use it to go and let people play their games. But like you said, they're turning it essentially into a con, really, aren't they?
Yeah.
For people to go there and sort of play the games. I suppose the next question is, Microsoft seem to be sticking with E3. Phil Spencer talked about E3 and how they're looking forward to it and they're going to be doing this kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
How long is it before they sort of go the same way? And I mean, at the minute, Microsoft has kind of a little bit of an advantage because if Sony aren't there, there's more focus on Microsoft.
Yeah.
But how long before they decide?
That's tough to say, just for the sole fact that at this point, Nintendo hasn't been there for years. Like, they don't bother. Nintendo does their own direct, and now you got PlayStation doing their own things. The stage is Microsoft's in the aspect of the big three. Like, it's theirs. E3 is now theirs to command, outside of EA and Ubisoft and Activision, things like that. So they don't need to create their own event when they can just use E3 and they can be like, hey, we're here for you. We're here for you, the gamers. We're here for this. We, want you to experience everything. We're not going to hide behind a YouTube video or something, this, that, and the other. They can do that. But I also think with E3 dying, and I do think if there is another major problem with E3, like happened last year, that came out with, the doxing and everything, I personally think if something like that happens again to that level or worse, if Microsoft doesn't back out of E3, that's almost kind of concerning. It's like, because now you're like E3 starting to get like in this negative light in the community. If it, it's already in a somewhat negative light, and now it's gonna happen. If it happens again, it's gonna get worse. And it's like you sticking around is just kind of backing them if they're not making changes.
Yeah, I can see that. I think E3 will just become more focused on
Third party.
Yeah, I think that's what will happen. I mean, Nintendo really laid down the groundwork here. They said we're not going to go to E3. We're going to do our own thing, and it worked. I remember when they said that, and I was really disappointed. And then now you look back and think, I look forward to like Nintendo Directs now. I mean, I think they're a good idea.
They're good and they're quick. It's like, okay, cool. I can watch this in 20 minutes. I don't have to watch an hour and a half with 2/3 of that being people on stage talking, and half of those I can't understand.
Well, this is the other thing that I like about having an event that's focused on one thing. Sony can have an event that's just focused on PlayStation 5, and we're not going to have 10 minutes of VR talk, and we're not going to have to like hear about all the stuff we're not really interested in. We can just focus on PlayStation 5. We can probably see some footage, see some games running, get some idea on the specs.
Well, you're probably going to get VR of like how it connects with the PlayStation VR.
Yeah, I suppose that's probably true. But you know what I mean? Like when you have like PlayStation Experience and stuff like that, they always have to throw in, hey, let's talk about VR. It's like, oh, for fuck's sake.
Yeah.
But they always, or they'll have like the roll of games where they show like loads of indie games that no one cares about. I mean that kind of thing. The padding, I guess, is what I would call it. So I'm looking forward to whatever Sony does. Obviously, I think February is the most likely. That's what's been said in the leak from 4chan, which of course take that with a big grain of salt from 4chan. But it was February last when they announced the PlayStation 4.
Yeah,
so
it was a February time, and it's a good time because, I mean, it seems like February is that second, I guess, like a second coming of like game holiday, I guess, because everything usually comes out like September, October, November, and then there's a lull, and all of a sudden it's February, March. So
March has seemed to pick up the slack. Like March seems to be a big time to release games again. Where people buy games,
which is fine because it gives that nice break of like, okay, I bought these games in the fall, now I play them, now I need new games. Oh look, new games.
Yeah, so I think it's even if the leak isn't true, I think it's probably it seems a likely time for them to do something like that and to actually do a talk. There was also a supposed, I don't know if this has been debunked or not yet, but I assume you've seen the picture of the supposed PlayStation 5.
Yeah, that bent one. I don't know if it's been debunked. They haven't even like, usually you see like a patent drawing usually with these kind of leaks, but there's not even a patent drawing. I know it's not going to look like the dev kit. It never looks like the dev kit. No. So that one with the giant V on it, I know that's not it.
I do kind of like the giant V though. Like it does look goofy, but at least it's kind of interesting. So for anyone who's not seen the PlayStation 5 mock-up, it essentially looks like the same kind of shape as a PlayStation 4, but it has like a cutout. So it has almost like an X shape almost to it. It's kind of strange. Like you're pretty best to like Google the picture and have a look at it to see, because it's kind of hard to describe. It looks interesting. I wouldn't be over the moon if that was what it looked like. There's the extremes here. If you look at the Series X, which is just a big cube, big black cube, which is inoffensive but at the same time very boring. I think the PlayStation 4 looks fine. I think the original PlayStation 4 is the best looking version. I think the Pro is kind of a little bit goofy looking. It looks like a sandwich,
Yeah, the original PS4, like when they showed off that design and the blue light and everything, I loved it, and I'm so upset that mine basically died, and I was able to sucker GameStop into buying it.
Well, this is Sony's MO with consoles. They make a version of the console that's glossy and kind of beautiful and looks almost not premium, but looks like it could be premium. And then they release the next version, which is basically the cheap version of the console. They do it every time. If you look at the PlayStation 3, the football shaped, rugby ball shaped
Yep.
PlayStation. They
PlayStation Fat, and then you had the PlayStation Slim, which is the one I ended up with, which still wasn't horrible, but it's that same texture and same matte black finish that is now on the PS4, and it's like, guys, come on.
They love that grainy plastic. I don't know what it is. It's like that. It's like that dull plastic. It's got like a slight grain to it. They seem to really love that that kind of feel. I would like it. I mean, why does it have to be black? Could we not have a grey console again? Could we not
remember the PS2s when they used to release like all those different colors? They had black, silver, blue, pink, purple, green. I think they had a green one. They had all those different colors. It's like, why do we need to have a special edition one that, gives you the special design? Like, I don't want to have to buy a special edition. Like, why can't you just give me a couple color variants? I mean,
if you look back at like the original PlayStation 1, that was grey because TVs were grey at that time.
Yeah.
VCRs were grey. The Super Nintendo was great. The Mega Drive, the Genesis wasn't. That was actually black. It was different. But everything else was grey. And then by the time the PlayStation 2 came along, that had all changed. We were all into like black TVs, and you remember the fad of having a white TV. That was a big thing as well. Everyone had like those glossy white TVs for a little while.
Yeah, like
so. Yeah, I mean, if it does look like that, I wouldn't be gutted, but I'd be like, okay. I mean, whatever it looks like, I'm still gonna enjoy it, but it looks kind of strange to me.
Yeah. My God. So that's a lot of colors for the I looked up the colors for the PS2. Holy fuck.
Yeah, they released a lot. I think the black and silver were the most common ones. I remember.
Yeah, you had matte black, and then you had ceramic white, light yellow, metallic blue, metallic silver, navy, opaque blue, opaque black, pearl white, purple, gold, silver, snow white, super red, transparent blue, and a limited edition pink.
Yeah, you gotta wonder if Apple can release an iPhone, and they can release basically 2 iPhones in 3 different colors. I mean, it must be possible, right, manufacturing wise, to not be crippled by releasing the console in more than one color. Like, it's got to be possible to do that, and not have it cost a huge amount of money. Like, maybe 2 colors. Let's not go crazy at first. Maybe just 2. But
I mean, honestly, like, I would maybe take one that's, in that PlayStation Blue, or take one in the, if it was like, had like a gloss silver finish, I would probably do that.
I tell you what's the best looking console for a long time was the limited edition PlayStation 4 Pro that was the see-through blue with the gold. That's the best
that's
looking.
Still my favorite one. I remember when that came out, I was so fucking quick. I actually had one in my cart, but I did not have the money to buy it.
Yeah, I think probably we're answering our own question here. Is the reason they don't do it is because they can then sell special editions down the line. I mean, that's probably the real reason this isn't happening.
Well, like that one and the 20th anniversary.
The grey one, yeah, that was a pretty cool looking one as well.
Those 2 were my favorite, but those also came out for very special reasons. Those weren't like a God of War edition, a Star Wars edition, a Final Fantasy edition. Like, those were 20 years and 500 million consoles. Like, those were 2 different.
Yeah. I mean, I would love it if they released like a see-through console, something like cool like that again. That'd be like a mass-produced version, that you could just buy. That'd be really cool, like the Game Boy used to be, or something like that. But yeah, I mean, like I said, answering our own question, the real reason they're not doing it is because later on they can sell special editions, to get people to buy more than one console. That's the reason that they really don't do it. Yeah, but I guess soon we should know. By the time we're recording our next episode, I imagine we'll know if there's going to be a PlayStation event in February, and maybe we'll talk about that and do like a special. We will definitely do an episode as soon as that's happened. So we'll probably wait and do that as soon as they release something. Like I said at the start, I think the next time will be next month, and we'll bring on Andy, and we can see how he's got on in the world of Yakuza, because I'm pretty sure he'll have finished it by next week or something crazy like that. Like, I don't think it's going to take him long to finish like Yakuza 7. He'll be...
No, that for the way he plays games now, he'll have it. I would be shocked if it's not already done.
Yeah, he's probably halfway done it already. So hopefully sometime in February we'll put out the next one. Like I said, we're gonna try and stick doing at least one a month. So there might be more. The podcast is now live on Spotify. It's live on iTunes. I don't think it's live on Google Play yet. I don't think we've sorted that out yet.
Nope, I gotta do that.
Yep, there is a YouTube version. If you do want to subscribe on iTunes or Spotify or YouTube, it does help us out, if you enjoyed it. As always, big thank you for listening. Until next time.